Thank you so much. I assume I can have the additional 2 minutes given graciously by Minister Cardona. When we're talking business, there's no government, there's no opposition, there's one voice. So it's an honor to address this distinguished audience, and I do welcome all foreign guests amongst us indeed today. This conference indeed comes at a very important juncture for world economies. After witnessing the worst economic, financial, social crisis in recent history, the impact of which can still be seen in many countries around us, it seems that finally the first seeds of recovery are indeed sprouting the green shrouds. It is certainly reassuring to note this week's European Commission winter forecast, foreseeing that economic recovery in most member states and in the European Union as a whole will continue to gain in strength over the coming months and indeed years. It is certainly positive that after years of negative growth, that the Commission is forecasting a 2% growth for 2015, accompanied by a reduction in unemployment, albeit to the still unacceptably high rate of 10.4% for next year. We indeed can say with pride that the level of unemployment in Malta is still relatively low at 6.8%. Evidently, this forecast makes a very important caveat. This reassuring forecast is based on the assumption that the implementation of agreed policy measures at EU and member states level sustain improvements in confidence as well as financial conditions and advances the necessary economic adjustments in member states. Now, in this context, I urge European institutions and national governments to build on this confidence, ensuring that goals identified in the ambitious Europe 2020 vision are truly put into practice. Europe 2020 should not be just a fancy name, but a real objective which delivers growth through more effective investment in education, research and innovation, growth which is accompanied indeed by an increase in employment, and a growth in which the benefits of success trickle across the whole of society. Now, I believe that Europe's return to growth rests on 5 key pillars, and it is relevant to see and compare with how Malta has fared so far in this regard. Now, one important pillar is indeed investment in human talent. Invest in the human talent. That is key. Irrespective of the limitless resources that a country may possess, the human potential can never be underestimated. Unfortunately, austerity measures in different European countries have also targeted education and training. Speaking to the experience of our country, Malta, we can safely say that the backbone of our success in attracting business and investment has indeed been our human assets. In Malta's emerging knowledge economy, our workers are central to our current and future success. There would have been no aviation industry without our investment in Malta's technical college, no growth in financial services without our governmental and private institutions producing top quality graduates to meet the demands for lawyers, accountants, investment managers, fund managers, and so forth. Secondly, investment through economic diversification. Too often, crises in countries have been augmented by over-reliance in one specific sector. Now, in this situation, I do believe that Malta can indeed serve as a witness to the benefits of diversification. As from an economy based solely on British naval forces until 35 years ago, in recent years, Malta has indeed managed to project itself as a regional center of excellence in financial services, information and communication technology, tourism, high-value added manufacturing, health and education. But we must not stop here. What has made our country successful in the past 2 decades is that as one sector grew, we immediately asked ourselves, what next? That is a critical question. What comes next? So let's be blunt about this. Some areas are not here to stay forever, at least not in their current form. For instance, we have seen significant changes in manufacturing as it goes from textiles to microelectronics to pharma, and it keeps changing and will keep changing. We can see some troubling signs as a result of mergers and acquisitions overseas. Some countries, some companies shed workers or go to a 4-day week. Is this temporary, or is it a sign of the times? Now, by sign of the times, I'm referring particularly to the lean and fighting fit strategy being adopted by many companies post-recession. So those that did survive have sought means to reduce their cost base, something which led and is still leading to job losses, especially in countries where the cost of labor is comparatively high. It is essential, therefore, in this regard, that countries attract the kind of investment that fits with the profile and expectations of the workforce. So yes, we must provide the right incentives to ensure a future of this industry here, but we need to start thinking again. Where is the new investment to come from? Now, luckily for this young nation, successive governments have ensured a solid foundation, particularly in the creation and development of the ICT environment, which was and still is a crucial enabler to further growth. ICT is an enabler which gave birth to a smarter workforce, which supported the growth of e-business and eventually led to the development of a locally based but globally oriented IT industry. It is an enabler through which we can attract to Malta new niches which can fuel investment, growth and jobs. As a specific example, I can point out the birth and development of the digital gaming industry as opposed to online gaming. Now, looking forward, we had also given birth to the consolidation of a wider, new, interesting development, the creative economy. By the end of the last government, the stocktake had already indicated we had over 3,600 enterprises in the creative economy, employing over 7,500 employees. It's important to keep growing on this industry. It's a new one with great potential. The same applies for the green economy. Now, another area for potential investment, even though traditional, is undoubtedly tourism. It generates close to 25% of our GDP. However, all the investment that sustains this industry is effectively local. Why? We need to see how to keep changing our tourism product, and we need to see how we can facilitate people for further newer tourism products. Third pillar, and I know I'm running out of time, investment in research, development, and innovation. Unfortunately, Europe missed the boat with the Lisbon targets. We cannot afford to lose out again. Countries such as the United States, Japan, and South Korea are not only outperforming the EU in overall R&D intensity, but also in terms of business enterprise R&D. So whilst it is truly very tempting in parallel with the need to achieve budgetary targets to strike off such investments, ultimately research and the knowledge which results from are basic preconditions for a healthier growth, increased investment, and finally new jobs. Put it simply, our future depends on the capacity to keep on transforming the economy towards more knowledge-intensive and innovative industries and services. There is no worth in continuing to subsidize inefficient industries through taxpayer money. On the other hand, we strongly believe that as a country we need to set up a creativity and innovation hub that would aim to increase significantly the number of startups in the knowledge economy. Fourthly, investing in smaller business. Now, yes, saying that small business are the backbone of the economy is probably the most used cliches in history. 99% of European businesses are in fact SMEs, accounting for 2 out of 3 of the private sector jobs, and contribute to more than half of the total value added created by businesses in the EU. So let's stop repeating it and make it happen truly in practice. Let us give them the necessary tools to grow. Let's support them in being innovative, in seeking to maximize the benefits of the European market. Fifth, final pillar, entrepreneurship. Now here I'm looking beyond European frontiers. The USA, for instance, what has made America so successful in the last century? A very strong entrepreneurial spirit passed on from one generation to the other. According to a Eurobarometer survey carried out in 2012, almost 60% of Europeans say it has never crossed their mind to start a business. That is wrong. So more efforts are needed in Europe and in Malta to breed a new generation of entrepreneurs, a generation which is not afraid of taking risks, which is not afraid of falling once, even twice. In all this, Europe must not forget its neighbors, which offer significant reciprocal potential. What looked as a very ambitious process in the last decade of the previous century, the Euromed process, and eventually the Union for the Mediterranean, seems to have lost steam over the previous past years for various reasons. It is now the time, as we are finally emerging from the crisis, to reignite this process, which can lead to significant political, economical, financial, social, and cultural benefits to the two sides. Here I appeal to the Maltese government to take a lead role in such efforts. Indeed, by virtue of our central location in the Med, that historically has always been a stage for economic activity, Malta has always been considered a natural bridge between Europe and North Africa. In conclusion, people have suffered throughout the crisis. Some economists have speculated that the upcoming generation might be the first not to enjoy a better standard of living than the previous. We cannot afford this legacy. Our people deserve better, and we politicians, technical experts, business leaders owe it to them. Allow me to close this short address by referring to the situation in Crimea and to other conflict-torn regions. There can be no real prosperity in the world without security and stability. It is unfortunate that peace remains an elusive goal, but this should not deter us from doing our indeed utmost to resolving conflicts wherever they are happening. I thank you for your attention.